So the biggest topic right now, with the Packers getting absolutely run over by Dalvin Cook in the game versus the Vikings, is are the Packers going to fire Mike Pettine? So of course, we don't really know that what's being talked about right now inside of the Packers front offices, but after a showing like that, versus this Vikings team, I think that question is in everyone's head. Lots of people are saying it, that they want to get Mike Pettine fired. So if you just take a look at my video from yesterday, some of the comments from that video, a lot of the biggest consensus for Packers fans is they want to see Mike Pettine fired. They don't really want to have Mike Pettine anymore. They were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 comments, sort of with that idea that, Mike Pettine should no longer be coaching for the Packers. And who knows, maybe that is the solution. I'm not a defensive guru. I have no idea what exactly is going wrong, but obviously something is going wrong if we let a guy like Dalvin Cook come in and run, completely run all over us. And I think it would be one thing if this was the first time that this ever happened. Maybe it was just a fluke if it was the first time. But obviously, after last year's game versus the San Francisco 49ers in that NFC Championship, this has sort of been a pattern. And if we sort of take a look at sort of what happened last year after that game to the 49ers, it already seemed like after that game, Mike Pettine was sort of put on notice. He was sort of on the hot seat. So if we take a look at this article right here from Acme Packing Company, it says Mike Pettine returns, but he's on notice. So LaFleur says, okay, we'll bring Pettine back for 2020, but it's a little, he's sort of on the hot seat. LaFleur's sharp criticism indicates Pettine is on notice and can be officially declared on the hot seat for 2020. LaFleur should know not to repeat his predecessor's mistake of keeping a defensive coordinator around too long, despite some obvious failings, but the Packers defense did have its moments in 2019, which perhaps earned Pettine a stay of execution. With Pettine back in the fold, attention now turns to fixing what happened in the NFC Championship game and ensuring it never happens again. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan caught Pettine with his pants down, and hopefully the defensive coordinator knows what went wrong, because it's very possible Green Bay will have to go through San Francisco again next year if they want to reach the Super Bowl. So here's a quote from my video yesterday that I think puts it well, and Adrian says, I think it says a lot about the Packers defense when we lose to a repetitive and predictable running game. I'm not sure what the solution is either, but our running defense hasn't been good for years. So I think this is a good point from Adrian. You had to expect the Vikings coming into this game to run the ball, of course, with Dalvin Cook playing, and the fact that this game, the weather, the winds were crazy, like 40-mile-an-hour winds. So I feel like the Packers had to know the Vikings were going to try to do this against them. But even though, they seemed to know what would happen, we still weren't able to stop it. And that's not to say that, just because, a team has a good running back, you should be able to come in and shut them down. Dalvin Cook is a great running back, but it seemed that the Packers had absolutely no answer to Dalvin Cook in that rushing game. The Vikings came in and ran the ball in 70% of their plays. And we would have hoped, I think, to see Kirk Cousins throw the ball more, because he only threw the ball 14 times in yesterday's game. And so far this season, he basically almost had the league lead for interceptions with like 10 interceptions or something coming into this game. So I think it would have been, better to see Kirk Cousins have to throw the ball a lot more, considering the winds were going crazy. Cousins hasn't been that good at keeping the ball safe for the Vikings team. So the fact that the Vikings were able to run the ball at will makes you question, did the Packers, was their scheme messed up? Were the players just not playing well? Honestly, I don't exactly know what the answer is. And this is the exact same thing that happened with Raheem Mostert in that NFC Championship game. He had 220 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the past 2 times a player has had 200 yards and 4 touchdowns in a game have both been against the Packers. So I think now with Mike Pettine, this being his 3rd year, last year it sort of seemed like he was on notice. He was sort of on the hot seat already coming into 2020 with the way that 49ers game went. And then to see another game like this makes you question if the Packers are, considering maybe moving on from him. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know the answer, but you'd have to assume that possibly that's a thought in their minds. And especially now, coming into this game on Thursday versus the San Francisco 49ers, I honestly personally think if the Packers get run over again, if they, the 49ers can move the ball at will on this Packers team, on this Packers defense, you'd have to assume that, I don't know, I just don't know if Mike Pettine will stay around much longer. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't happen. But definitely I think something needs to change on the defensive side of the ball. That's all I want to break down today, but I'd be curious to, hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think the solution is? Do you think the problem is solely Mike Pettine? We have a great defense, just the defensive coordinator is bad. Or do you think, the defense has been playing back, Mike Pettine's been good? So far, the consensus I've sort of heard from my comments, at least, maybe my comments don't show the full extent of Packers fans, but who knows? What is the problem? I don't know. Let me know what you think the exact problem is down below. I don't have the answers. I don't know who has the answers. Maybe someone has the answers. So that's all for today's video. Make sure you guys drop a like if you guys enjoyed this video. And if you're a Packers fan and you want to, see some more Packers content, make sure you subscribe as well. But that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.